In the year 2026, the world stands at a threshold not marked by months or days, but by trembling earth, by restless nations, by hearts beating with anticipation and fear. Some call it a year of challenge, a year of testing, a year where choices will echo across generations. The winds of change swirl, unseen yet undeniable, carrying whispers from the past, warnings from the present, and timeless truths from eternity. Across centuries, voices have spoken, some shrouded in mystery, some calculated in cold precision, and some eternal, written by the hand that holds all time. Tonight, we step into three lenses of prophecy, three mirrors of the human journey, all converging on a single year, 2026. Baba Vanga, the mystic from Bulgaria, blind to the physical world, yet seeing across time, is said to have glimpsed the paths that lie ahead. Though her words were rarely recorded and her visions filtered through storytellers and followers, the essence of her prophecy for 2026 echoes across the whispers of history. It is said she foresaw the earth trembling under its own weight, mountains shaking, coastlines succumbing to raging seas, and cities swallowed by floods. The land itself, scarred by earthquakes and volcanic fury, will remind humanity of its fragile dominion. Fire and water, wind and storm will challenge nations and test the limits of human endurance. In these visions, the shadow of war stretches across continents, not a conflict of borders, not a clash of armies confined to maps, but a global upheaval that shakes governments, alliances, and the very pillars of civilization. Leaders will rise whose decisions will determine the fate of millions. Nations will fall under the weight of ambition and pride, and humanity will stare at its reflection, wondering how quickly it surrendered to fear, greed, and hubris. And in the midst of this, technology will rise not as servant, but as sovereign. Artificial intelligence will infiltrate decisions, industries, and lives. Machines will calculate, predict, and influence outcomes beyond human comprehension. Human control may slip into the circuits and codes of these creations, leaving humanity to confront its own diminishing dominion. Power will shift, and autonomy will become a question, not a certainty. Whispers speak also of first contact, ships descending from the stars, questions that challenge our understanding of life, of the universe, of what it means to be human. These events, some claim, may coincide with the great economic tremor. Markets, currencies, and financial systems may falter, revealing the fragility of structures built over centuries. Banks may fail, economies may collapse, societies may be shaken not only by the hand of nature, but by the failures of human systems themselves. Whether literal or allegorical, whether myth or caution, these visions demand attention. They remind us that the choices we make, the paths we follow, and the decisions we ignore may define the trajectory of generations. They whisper a question across time. Will humanity awaken or continue in slumber until the storm breaks? As the past whispers, so does the present calculate. In our modern age, prophecy takes a new form. Data, probability, pattern recognition, and algorithmic foresight. The AI oracle sees the world not as a mystic sees it, but as it is, a planet in stress, a civilization in flux, societies teetering on thresholds invisible to the naked eye. Its vision is clear, cold, and precise. It sees the storms intensifying, not as isolated incidents, but as part of a pattern, the echo of a planet in distress. Floods, wildfires, droughts, and heat waves will not be anomalies. They will be messages sent through water, fire, and air, reminding humanity that it is neither sovereign nor immune. It sees the economy strained under pressures both visible and hidden, supply chains fragile, resources dwindling, energy strained, and political alliances tested. Shadows of famine, scarcity, and unrest may appear, not only through conflict, but through neglect, greed, and short-sightedness. It sees medicine advancing to the brink of miracles, organs grown in laboratories, diseases cured by gene therapy, the boundaries of life stretched beyond what was once thought possible. Yet these gifts come with a warning. Knowledge and power without wisdom can be as dangerous as ignorance and neglect. To hold creation in your hands is to bear responsibility for every consequence that follows. It sees the rise of machines, not only as tools, but as arbiters. AI will guide decisions, influence outcomes, predict human behavior, and shape the trajectory of nations. The question is no longer what machines can do for us, but what they may do to us, and whether humanity retains the authority to govern its own destiny. It sees humanity facing a moral and existential crossroads. Choices will carry weight beyond the immediate. Actions, decisions, and omissions will resonate in a world that is increasingly interconnected, increasingly fragile, and increasingly aware. 2026 may become a crucible, a moment that reveals the character of our species and the depth of our wisdom or folly. Yet there is another voice, older than mystics, older than machines, eternal and unchanging. The scriptures speak across millennia, not with probabilities or visions, but with truth, warning, and promise. Wars and rumors of wars, famines, pestilences, and earthquakes, these are described not as mere events, but as the birth pangs of a world groaning under the weight of disobedience and sin. They are signs, not guarantees, meant to awaken the heart, to sharpen the soul, to focus the mind on what is eternal. False prophets will rise. Deception will flood the hearts of men. Love will grow cold, and morality will waver. Society will fracture under its own pride and arrogance. Yet amid these warnings, the scriptures promise endurance, salvation, and hope. He who endures to the end shall be saved. Those who watch, pray, and hold fast to truth, even when the world trembles, will find refuge. The Bible does not set dates. It does not whisper a year like 2026. It teaches patterns, principles, and moral truths. It calls for vigilance, discernment, and faith. When nations rise against nations, when the earth shakes, when human ambition reaches its height, these are signs that the eternal is in motion, guiding history beyond what the eye can see. Consider now the convergence of these three lenses. The mystic's vision, veiled in mystery, whispers of upheaval, conflict, and revelation. The AI oracle, cold and calculating, predicts patterns, probabilities, and the echoes of human action. The scripture, eternal and unyielding, warns of moral decay, natural upheaval, and the enduring hope for those who remain faithful. Their messages differ, but their themes converge. Upheaval, fragility, warning. The world may tremble in earth, in fire, in wind, in water. Machines may rise, humans may falter, and the moral fabric of society may be tested. But in all these visions, one thread remains unbroken: the power of choice, the responsibility of action, the call to faith, wisdom, and vigilance. 2026 is more than a year. It is a test. It is a challenge. It is a crucible that will reveal the depth of human courage, the strength of moral conviction, and the endurance of faith. It is a year that may define the trajectory of our civilization and the legacy we leave for those who follow. Prepare your heart, examine your life, strengthen your spirit, seek wisdom, love relentlessly. Do not succumb to fear, for fear blinds, divides, and weakens. The storms may come, but hope anchored in truth endures. Stand firm, endure, watch, pray, act with discernment, and heed the warnings of the past, the probabilities of the present, and the eternal truths of Scripture. For the hour is uncertain. The events of 2026 are not set in stone. They are shaped by human action, by moral courage, and by the choices each of us makes. The world may tremble, nations may clash, disasters may strike, and technology may rise to challenge the limits of our autonomy. Yet salvation, hope, and light await those who persevere. Look inward, look upward, prepare. For 2026 is coming, and the question is not whether the storms will arrive, but whether your soul is anchored, whether your spirit is vigilant, whether your heart is ready to stand firm in the face of the trials that approach. The mystic, the oracle, and the eternal word all speak. They speak of warning, of accountability, endurance. They speak of the fragility of human life and the eternal promise that transcends time. Will humanity rise above its fear, its pride, its neglect? Will it heed the lessons whispered across centuries, predicted by machine, and written in eternal ink? The storms may come, the machines may calculate, the world may shake, but those who anchor themselves in truth, wisdom, and faith will endure. Stand ready, stand vigilant, stand unwavering. For the choices of 2026 are the choices of eternity, and the path you take now will echo far beyond the ticking of the clock, beyond the trembling of nations, beyond the fury of storms, and into the legacy that awaits all mankind. 2026 is not just a year. It is a mirror. It is a challenge. It is a warning. It is a test. The question remains, will you be ready to face it? Will you rise when the storm comes? Will you endure when the earth shakes, when nations fall, when machines rise, when hearts tremble? Will you choose faith, hope, and courage over fear, despair, and apathy? The time is now. The call is clear. Stand firm, watch, pray, act with discernment, and endure, for salvation, hope, and eternal light await those who do not falter.